Failure is all around us. It's part of life we may not exactly like, but we accept it. After all, without pain, there is no pleasure, and there are few games out there that embody this simple creed better than Super Meat Boy. Death may be pervasive in this 2D platformer, but it does not define this experience. The overwhelming sense of satisfaction when you pass a particularly nasty level, when you squeeze between two blades unscathed, or snatch a bandage that seemed impossible only minutes earlier. Those are the moments that stay with you. This is an extraordinary platformer that makes you work for every inch you gain, but the rewards are sweeter than a chocolate brownie when you raise your arms in victory. It all begins with the controls. Within seconds of firing up the first levels in Super Meat Boy, it's apparent that the controls are just an extension of your thoughts. You run and jump with such smooth grace that you're always in complete command of your movements. Leaping up walls, adjusting midair, and even stopping still from a dead sprint all work perfectly here, letting you focus on the daunting obstacles that stand in your path. And you'll need those refined controls to pass the unrepentant dangers that strike you down. Although the early levels ease you into this adventure, the difficulty ramps up to an insane level. New types of obstacles are introduced at a steady rate, and then utilized in creative and often sadistic ways that will force you to unearth the very depths of your skill in order to pass them. Spinning blades whoosh towards you, powerful fans blow you around, lava rises quickly from the burning deep, and just one touch from these dangers will kill you instantly. Sound punishing? It isn't. The game always plays fair, so when you stumble, and you will stumble quite a bit, it's because you messed up. You mistimed your jump, or you took a lousy angle. But because you're always in complete control, and the levels are usually less than 30 seconds, it doesn't matter. You brush yourself off and give it another shot. The beauty of Super Meat Boy is how quickly you master obstacles that seemed utterly ridiculous only moments earlier. At the start of a stage, you may wonder how you could ever land a ludicrous jump. But after a few attempts, maybe even a few dozen attempts, you can figure out the timing. And once you know what you need to do, it's not too difficult to pull off the same move every subsequent time. You learn and adapt as you try new things, and there's nothing as empowering as sprinting through traps that haunted you so mercilessly earlier. This is a game about reward after all, about overcoming failure, and the rush when you succeed is unparalleled. It's easy to look at this footage and assume all this death leads to frustration. It doesn't. The precise controls and imaginative level design goes a long way towards alleviating any throw your controller moments, but it goes even deeper than that. The upbeat soundtrack meshes beautifully with the action, keeping your energy level up without distracting you from the carnage. There aren't any checkpoints in these short levels, but because you restart almost immediately, you never have time to mourn your last death, since you're right back on your feet in no time trying to brave the deadly pits once more. Finally, the extreme focus needed to stay alive ensures you won't waste your energy beating yourself up for coming up short. This is an amazingly well-designed game because it seamlessly avoids the frustration of dying by shielding you from your own aggravation. The amount of content in Super Meat Boy is staggering. There are more than 300 levels in all, many of which are optional and some are even hidden. The standard levels take place in the light world, and these include traditional platforming challenges and some unique bosses as well. If you nab a hard time, you unlock a dark world version that's even more challenging. But the extra levels don't stop there. Warp zones are carefully hidden in certain stages, and these trigger 3-level sets that are slightly easier than what you might expect, but you have a finite number of lives to reach the end. On top of all that are 0 world levels which are just as difficult to open up as they are to complete. Adding on to the wealth of content are unlockable characters which each have their own unique moves. You earn these by either playing through special warp zones or collecting a set number of hidden bandages, and they give you fancy new ways to pass levels. The additional roster is pulled from other indie games, so you may come across Commander Video from Bit Trip Runner, who can glide across horizontal chasms, which can sure be handy in a pinch. It's impossible to point to just one thing in Super Meat Boy as the reason this is such a satisfying and rewarding platformer. It's an entire package. From the extreme though always fair difficulty and inspired level design, to the pinpoint controls and catchy music, it's impossible to pull yourself away once you get started. And there are so many extra levels and unlockable characters that you can spend as much time as you want getting lost in this incredible world. Death is always just one misstep away in Super Meat Boy, but the rush of winning is what defines this excellent game.